Hey guys, VAR is once again under fire by Premier League and Jose Mourinho and Carlo Ancelotti and Dean Smith. Interestingly, all the three managers that had the, had games with the respective teams yesterday on Thursday, 9 July 2020. Now, it is not the first time that VAR is coming under fire by managers of Premier League or even other leagues in the world. VAR has been constantly criticized ever since it started 2 years ago, back in 2018, when there were first time it was tested in Bundesliga as a full season, and there were lots of controversies. But still, Bundesliga actually had a very successful season as compared to Premier League, which is right now. We are living in a swamp of controversies going on, from possibly offside goals, where armpits are being awarded as offside, to say margins. First of all, the definition of offside, as far as I remember, is that any legal point of the body from which you can score when it is outside the line is deemed to be offside. And of course, to a person sensible with rules and everything of football, arm and the lower part of your elbow is definitely not legal. But as we can see in the past, Premier League VAR officials have awarded offside and ruled out goals which have been scored by marginally arms being put out of the line. So what happened yesterday? First of all, BBC Sport just today on 10th July 2020 wrote an article saying every penalty decision in all the three games of Thursday were wrong. And this has been reported by many news outing companies, BBC as well as a big news company in the UK, Evening Standard, as well, reporting the same thing, that Premier League officials are saying now that penalty awarded in the game against Aston Villa versus Manchester United for Bruno Fernandes was a wrong decision. And similarly, it goes to the decision against Jose Mourinho's Tottenham Hotspur in the game against Bournemouth, or in the game of Everton versus Southampton. Now, what happened in the game for Tottenham versus Bournemouth? In the second half of the game, Harry Kane, as you can see in this picture, was pushed by Joshua King, and this was actually, first of all, had to be a penalty. If I cannot put in a match footage, obviously, because of copyright issues, but if you look at the highlights of this game, this should have been a penalty. Kane was setting up for a goal scoring opportunity, and suddenly King pushes, or even, let's say, comes into contact with him, but mostly 90% of the time, any contact inside the opposition box is deemed to be a penalty. But of course, this wasn't the case here, as the penalty was ruled out by VAR, and Harry Kane and Tottenham were left-sided. And in the end, they drew the game 0-0, which really impacted their performance in the league table and in the recent times. Jose Mourinho interestingly said afterwards in the game that everyone in the world thought this should have been a penalty, apart from the referee on the pitch. And interestingly, it was also the same referee that ruled out Harry Kane's goal against Sheffield United last week, disallowing Tottenham's lead in that game, Michael Oliver. Of course, Jose Mourinho refused to take his name, saying, you know when and you know who. But we all know that it was Michael Oliver as viewers. So it's interesting because Mourinho recently, one can say that Premier League officials, everything seems to go against him, and officials are targeting him. But I don't know, something really is wrong against Mourinho. He constantly gets bad decisions against him, and his team obviously pays the dues for that. Interestingly, Michael Oliver will also be the referee for next week's game, again the North London derby game, Tottenham versus Arsenal, and it would be really, really nice and exciting to see how Mourinho, I would say, deals with Michael Oliver in that game. Because of course, a bad decision, at this point, I think Mourinho is just one bad decision away from bursting out like a volcano of frustration, and rightfully so, because you see, Tottenham right now is in 9th position, which is by far from the season's expected goals and objectives. Top 4 is surely over for them, and even top 6 now looks really, really out of reach, because at 6th place it's Wolverhampton Wanderers at 52 points, and it's right now Tottenham at 9th position, which is 49 points. And Wolves at the moment really look like a strong team as compared to Tottenham. Now, in the second game, at the same time, was the game against Everton versus Tottenham, where James Ward-Prowse was was taken down by Andre Gomez, but actually it looked like James Ward-Prowse himself, um, I would say, threw himself onto Andre Gomez. But of course, it got awarded in the favor of James Ward-Prowse and in a penalty for Southampton. But fortunately, or I would say unfortunately for Southampton, James Ward-Prowse hit the pole and missed the penalty. But of course, if that penalty had gone in, and the game of course ended 1-1 in a draw. Now, if that penalty had gone in, Southampton would have taken all the 3 points, which would have been really, really harsh on Everton. And Everton boss Carlo Ancelotti later on said that the performance of the referee was like my team, not so good, which is sarcastic but also a very truthful comment on the officiating of in the games yesterday by Premier League officials. You think now after 2 games things would have been a bit improved, or the VAR officials would have taken a bit improvement in the decision making, but that was exactly the opposite. That was actually the case. I would say 1 or 2 hours later in the game against Aston Villa and Manchester United, Bruno Fernandes got awarded a penalty in, I think, the mid stages of the first half, where Aston Villa right from the start were looking quite powerful, and United were actually looking vulnerable for the first 10 minutes of the game. They very nearly, Jack Grealish came 1 or 2 times very close to scoring the opener for Aston Villa. So at this point, a penalty awarded against Aston Villa and also getting converted eventually was a complete shattering to their confidence. Dean Smith afterwards the game said the penalty was a disgraceful decision. I can understand John Moss getting it wrong, but I don't know what VAR are looking at. They have a screen here, they can go and look at it, but they don't seem to be bothered. I don't think Dean Smith, the Aston Villa official, know this or not, but currently Premier League officials are not allowed to look at the monitors because, in terms of VAR decisions, because it is a mean of reducing time spent and keeping the game faster. So currently the option to go to a screen and judging the decisions is not valid or not available for the Premier League officials. But still, I think Dean Smith was right. And of course, people who are following me on my Instagram account or Twitter account, or even on this channel on YouTube, they mostly know that I am a Manchester United supporter through and through. So if I am saying something like this, that the penalty awarded to Bruno Fernandes shouldn't have been avoided in my point of view, then it's of course a big thing. And I don't have any second thoughts about this, because when you look at it from a United fan's point of view, you're happy that Fernandes got the penalty, he scored, United gained the momentum, and from then on it was a complete one-sided match. But if you look at it from a football fan's point of view and in terms of sportsmanship, it was bad. It was bad because these type of decisions hamper the morale of the receiving end team, and it really destroys the sportsmanship, in my opinion. And of course, the respect people have for the likes of VAR officials or even Premier League officials. Interestingly, I also found an article of 2018 by Evening Standard where VAR was explained how the video assistant referee system works. This was in the first initial stages of VAR being introduced into the world of football back in 2018, around the time of FIFA World Cup in Russia. So here it clearly says that the IFB says VAR is only to be used in serious incidents that are missed. Now, missed serious incidents, note this. Missed serious incidents means the incidents that were missed by the referee, or he did not catch it at that moment with the pace of the game. Problem is, right now in 2020, or I would say from the last year, VAR is being used heavily and extensively, and maybe a bit too much in decision making. Every decision that the referee makes, or even if he misses or doesn't miss, VAR has to look at it. First of all, it takes time, and second, and the most important point, VAR for some reason always seem to give decisions that go against logic and against obvious, I would say, perspective of people watching the game as viewers, like me, like everyone at their homes, even the managers. We know it is not a penalty, or this play was not offside, but VAR somehow, for some reason, completely goes against it and awards the complete opposite thing. Of course, this is very, very dangerous in terms of Premier League teams and the results of the game, because a team spends weeks training for a particular game, sets up in a particular point, and then one single decision, and then one single foul, or maybe whatever, offside or penalty, and then a single bad decision by VAR completely changes the course of the game. So this is a serious thing, and I think, in my opinion, it needs to be looked at. And the Premier League officials themselves are saying that they have admitted that they're making mistakes. So this is one positive step. But will it be resolved? I don't know. I also saw an article recently that maybe 2 days ago only, that said that VAR wouldn't be keeping a time limit. IFAB wouldn't be keeping a time limit on VAR decisions, because it wants the game to be flowing in a fast, pacey way. Of course, this means that the VAR decisions should be accurate then, because they're not taking time. But this is not the case. It is a complete opposite case. So I don't know where this train and bandwagon of VAR's bad decisions are headed. But let's hope for the best for now and think that things are going to resolve. Okay guys, that's all for this video, and this is something new I tried on this channel. It's like a flashing news video, and I would love to hear in the comments what you guys think about it, and what are the new topics that I should cover, or new ways or improvements I should make to my video. So best of luck, and stay safe, and thank you for watching.